Kevin Luo. Kevin, this year, Living Wisdom High School honors your expression of creativity.
Thank you, Ozzy. The wind came from the west, whistling over the abandoned playground structure and rickety wooden fences leaning this way and that. Plastic poster, barely anchored to the ground, bowed up and down, as if practicing a stretch, getting closer to tipping over each time. This was the state of Living Wisdom High School during the Dark Ages. A week in which most people stayed home due to COVID. The school was empty and devoid of the usual stupid jokes and people falling out of chairs during class. Sitting around in a circle in awkward silence were a few lonely souls inhabiting this barren wasteland. I staggered upwards and, with a grunt, started constructing. The rusty scraps that lay about the ground rose upwards like a tree, away from the bramble-infested boredom of the undergrowth, higher and higher. When I was done, what stood was the most majestic work of construction of my life. A tower of chairs, 5 levels tall. When we attempted to add the 6th chair, however, disaster struck. The whole thing came crashing down, tumbling with a great roar. And Hazy, startled from his nut butter eating corner, came sprinting out, like a concerned parent who has just seen his toddlers fall off of the sofa, asking if anyone was hurt. The next day, I tried again, but this time, a tower of 7 chairs, leaning enough to rival the Tower of Pisa, stood. But one must remember that chair stacking isn't the only important thing in life. During the past school year, I've learned many valuable skills and lessons, leading up to this triumphant moment. In photography, we learned about camera angles, shutter speed, lenses, and color balance. But it was at the night before class when creativity really took off. I would find myself chasing after squirrels and pouring different grains and liquids to each other to get the perfect shot at odd hours. And in Keshuva's acting class, we learned to improvise and make films. The key rule to improvisation was to always respond with yes and, no matter how absurd the situation was. And in English class, I had always been paralyzed by essay writing. But this year, I discovered a way of connecting my creative drive with the previously tedious 5-paragraph cookie-cutter essay. In physics and math, I learned how to fit different skills unexpectedly into the solution of a puzzle. During an interesting conversation with Hazy, we talked about how the right brain is usually seen as the creative and artistic side, while the left brain is the mathematical and logical side. However, the truth is that they both work towards creating creativity. A study on jazz musicians showed that the right hemisphere was more active in musicians inexperienced in improvisation, while the left one was more active in experienced musicians. This suggests that creativity is right brain in unfamiliar situations, but left brain in routine, experienced tasks. Another fear I had growing up was that I would lose my creativity and become a boring adult But even though it is true that our brains lose plasticity over time, I realized that there will always be new skills to learn, new connections to be made, and infinitely new fun things to try. Life is like a metaphor for chair stacking. When you start with the first chair, you don't know how the next one or the next is going to balance on top. But you will never get past one if you simply sit in it and don't do anything. The tower, as you build up, may start to lean, but you can counterbalance without starting over. And when it does fall over, you will try again and get more chairs the second time. Creativity is about finding the first chair and stacking upwards into the blue sky. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kevin.